Hi, everyone. I'm Jack, and with me is Elena.
Hi, everybody.
And today, we're going to be talking about something that I think a lot of English learners struggle with. It's anxiety about speaking English.
Yeah, it's really common to feel nervous or scared when you have to speak English, especially if you're still learning.
It can be really intimidating to put yourself out there,
Yeah.
and worry about making mistakes or not being understood.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
think, our brains are kind of programmed to avoid situations that might be dangerous. And so when we find ourselves in a new or challenging situation, our body reacts in a way to protect us. So our heart beats faster, we might start to sweat, our muscles tense up, and it's all part of that fight or flight response.
So it's like our bodies are reacting to speaking English the same way they might react to
Mm-hmm.
seeing a bear in the woods or
Right,
something.
exactly. It can definitely feel that way sometimes. But the good news is there are things we can do to manage those feelings. And the first step is just understanding that it's totally normal. Everyone experiences it.
Yeah, for sure. I know when I was first learning Spanish, I was so nervous to speak to native speakers. I was so worried I would sound stupid or say something wrong and offend someone.
Yeah, I can understand that, but it's important to remember that most people are really patient and understanding, especially when they know that you're learning a language. They're usually happy to help.
That's good to hear. But
Ah.
even knowing that, it can still be really hard to get over those nerves.
One thing that might help is trying to think of your anxiety as excitement. So instead of saying "Oh, I'm so scared to speak," maybe you could try saying, "I'm excited to practice and get better at English."
So we could actually try to change the way we think about the situation and see it as a positive thing instead of a negative thing.
Yeah, exactly. Think of it this way. Your body's actually giving you energy to speak. Your heart's beating faster so it can get more blood to your brain. You're sweating to keep yourself cool. Your muscles are tense so you're ready to move if you need to.
It's interesting to think about it that way. Our bodies are actually trying to help us, even if it feels really uncomfortable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So next time you feel those nerves kicking in, just try to shift your perspective a little bit. Remind yourself that you're excited to speak English. And these feelings you're having, they're just your body's way of helping you do your best.
I like that that's a good way to think about it.
Hmm.
I think another thing that can help is just being prepared. If you know what to expect, you might not feel as nervous.
Yeah, for sure. One way to prepare is to practice common phrases and questions ahead of time. That can help you feel more fluent and confident.
So it's like having a script in your head that you can use if you get stuck.
Yeah, exactly. And it's also a good idea to have some phrases ready for those times when you might need a little help, like if you forget a word or if you don't understand what someone said.
Could you repeat that, please? Or could you speak more slowly?
Yeah, those are great examples.
Yep.
You can also say something like, "I'm sorry, I don't understand. Could you explain that a different way?"
It's amazing how much those kinds of phrases can help you feel more comfortable in a conversation.
It really can, and the more you practice using them, the more natural they'll start to feel.
I think it all comes back to practice. The more you practice, the less scary it becomes.
Practice is so important. It's like riding a bike. The first few times you try, you're probably going to be a little wobbly and nervous. But the more you do it, the smoother and more confident you become.
Yeah, and just like riding a bike, it's good to start slowly and work your way up.
Exactly. You wouldn't want to try going down a really steep hill on your first day of biking, would you?
Definitely not so when it comes to speaking English. It's totally okay to start with small conversations like ordering a coffee or asking for directions.
Right. You can practice with friends or family who are also learning English. You could even just practice talking to yourself in the mirror.
I actually do that sometimes. It feels a
Yeah.
little silly, but it really does help to just get the words out of your mouth.
It all helps, and it's important to find a language partner who's patient and supportive. Someone who won't make you feel bad if you make mistakes.
Having that support can make such a big difference. It's like having a cheerleader on your side.
Yeah, and it's not just about having someone to practice with. It's also great to have someone to celebrate your successes with.
Sometimes it's easy to focus on the things we're doing wrong and forget to acknowledge how far we've come.
Yeah, we can get caught up in that feeling of not being good enough or
Mm.
we're not progressing fast enough. But it's important to remember that every step counts.
Yeah, and every time you speak English, no matter how small the conversation is, you're getting closer to your goals.
Exactly. And every conversation is a chance to learn something new, even if it's just one new word or a new way to say something.
So it's not about being perfect, it's about making progress.
Exactly. And it's all about making small efforts consistently over time. And eventually you'll look back and be amazed at how far you've come.
That's a great reminder, I think. Progress, not perfection.
Exactly. And remember to be kind to yourself. It's a journey, not a race.
It's okay to stumble and make mistakes.
Yeah.
That's how we learn and grow.
Now let's talk about some specific things you can do to deal with those anxious feelings when they come up. One of the easiest and most effective techniques is to just focus on your breathing. When we get anxious, we tend to take these short, shallow breaths, and that can actually make the anxiety worse.
Oh, yeah. I do that all the time when I'm stressed out.
Yeah, it can make things worse, but if you can consciously slow down your breathing and take deep breaths from your diaphragm, it can really help to calm you down.
It's like you're telling your body that everything's going to be okay.
Exactly. It's a way to tell your nervous system to just relax.
Do you have any specific breathing exercises that you recommend?
Yeah, there's one that I like. It's called box breathing. And it's really simple. You can do it anywhere, anytime. So you just breathe in slowly for a count of 4. Then you hold your breath for a count of 4. Then you breathe out slowly for a count of 4. And then you hold your breath again for a count of 4. And you just keep repeating that.
Oh, okay. I can see how that would be easy to remember.
Hmm.
Might have to try that.
Yeah, you can even visualize like drawing a box in your mind as you're doing it. Each side of the box represents one part of the breathing cycle.
That's a good idea. I think visualizations can be really helpful.
Another thing that can help is paying attention to your posture. When we're feeling anxious, we tend to slouch over and make ourselves small. But if you stand up straight with your shoulders back, it can actually make you feel more confident.
Yeah, it's like you're taking up more space.
Right. And when you feel more confident, you naturally feel less anxious.
So it's like even if you don't feel confident on the inside, you can kind of project that image of confidence.
Yeah, fake it till you make it, right?
Exactly. I think it's also important to remember that you don't have to be perfect.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No one's perfect. In fact, making mistakes is a really important part of learning any language.
Yeah, it can be frustrating though,
Yeah.
when you can't think of the right word or when you make a grammar mistake.
I know, but those mistakes are actually really valuable. They show you what you need to work on.
And they give you a chance to learn and improve.
Right. So instead of getting upset about making mistakes, try to see them as opportunities to learn and grow.
I like that perspective.
It takes the pressure off,
Yeah, for sure.
and it helps you focus on the fun parts of learning.
Another thing I've heard that can help is trying to focus more on the message you're trying to get across than on the language itself.
Yeah, that's a great point. It's easy to get caught up in worrying about grammar and pronunciation and all of that.
But at the end of the day, the goal is to communicate, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
So if you can focus on getting your message across, even if your English isn't perfect, you'll be more likely to relax and enjoy the conversation.
And I think that's especially true when you're talking to native English speakers. They probably care more about what you have to say than about whether you're using perfect grammar.
Right. Most native speakers are happy to help you if you need it, as long as you're making an effort.
So it's okay to ask for clarification or to use simpler language if you need to.
Yeah. And don't be afraid to use gestures or body language to help you communicate.
Sometimes a hand gesture can be more effective than words.
Definitely the most important thing is to be yourself
All right.
and to enjoy the process of learning.
That's a great message. Learning English should be fun,
It should be.
not something that makes you feel stressed out.
Exactly.
And with the right mindset and the right tools, I think anyone can overcome their fear of speaking English
I agree.
and start to enjoy all the benefits that come with it.
It opens up so many doors.
And remember, you're not alone in this.
Yeah.
There are so many people all over the world who are learning English,
Millions and millions of people.
and they're probably experiencing the same challenges that you are.
So don't be afraid to reach out for support, whether it's from a teacher or a language partner, or even an online community.
There's so many resources out there.
Yeah, and just remember, every step you take is a victory.
That's a great point. We should celebrate every step of the way.
Absolutely.
I think we've given our listeners a lot to think about today. Hopefully they're feeling a little bit more confident about speaking English.
I hope so too. And remember, like we've been saying, it's not about being perfect. It's about being able to communicate and connect with other people.
That's what it's all about. And every time you speak English, you're getting closer to your goals, and you're opening up new possibilities for yourself.
Yeah. You know, something I've noticed over the years is that confidence can be contagious.
Oh, that's interesting. What do you mean by that?
Well, when you approach a conversation with confidence, even if you're feeling a little bit nervous on the inside, it can actually have an effect on the other person.
So you're saying even if you're faking it at first, just acting confident can help you actually become more confident.
Yeah, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. And the more you practice speaking English with confidence, the more natural and genuine that confidence will become.
Like tricking your brain into believing you're confident.
Yeah, kind of, but it's not just about tricking yourself. It's also about changing your mindset and believing that you can learn and grow.
So it's a combination of taking action by speaking English even when you're nervous
Hmm.
and believing in yourself that you can do it.
Exactly. And remember, progress takes time. So be patient with yourself, celebrate the small victories, and don't be afraid to make mistakes along the way.
Those mistakes are how we learn.
Exactly. So see them as opportunities to get better, and don't let them hold you back.
I think that's a great message to end on. Embrace the mistakes, celebrate your progress, and just keep speaking English.
It was great talking to you today, Jack.
Yeah, it was fun. Elena, thanks for being here. And to all of our listeners out there, keep practicing, keep learning, and most importantly, have fun with English.